Page 87, Scarborough Fair. On page 86, they're introducing you to the key of D minor. D minor has one flat, a B flat. F major has one flat, a B flat. They're related. So F major, its relative minor, because they're related, is D minor. And in case you're wondering, yes, there's a pattern to all of this, and the way I remember it is the relative minor, that is the minor with the same key signature as the major, is a minor third below. So if F major here, if I go down a minor third, remember a minor third, I spoke about these earlier, it's 3 half steps. 1, 2, 3. That's the minor key, whatever that is. So in this case it would be a D minor. So F major, D minor, same key signature, B flats. So all the B's are automatically flatted unless they have natural signs, blah blah blah. Now in D minor, if I use all the white keys except the B flat, because there's a B flat in the key signature, I get a D minor scale. We want harmonic minor. I'm going to raise the 7th step a half a step. So instead of a C, the 7th step is a C. The 7th is 1 less than 8, and that's the top is 8. So just go down 1. It's easier than counting up 7. Ugh. So just take the 7th step and make it go up 1. So it's a C sharp. So a harmonic minor. Cool. That's the scale I cover in my D minor scale video, and that's what I encourage you to go learn. That's 1 octave up and down, the fingering and all that, and do the wrist and the accents and all the stuff I explained. For Scarborough Fair, we have to be careful. I got a question from a viewer on this piece from the first time I uploaded this, and she's saying, is this really in D minor? Because she can't find any B flats in it anywhere. Well, you look at in here and there's a couple B's, but they have natural signs. They're B naturals. So is this really in D minor? Well, according to the book it is, because that's what they're doing. But I question that also. In my mind, this is not D minor. This is actually a Dorian mode for C. Now I don't teach the modes. The point is, the Dorian mode is built on the 2nd step of a scale. So in C major, the Dorian, the 2nd step is here. So I would simply play a scale here, using all the notes in C major, white keys. That's a Dorian mode in C major, in C. C Dorian, whatever. And in my mind, that's really what this is, not D minor. It's C Dorian. However, the book is going with D minor, so this is in D minor. Let's keep it simple. You're just using B naturals instead of B flats. And there's no C sharps in here, so we're not using the harmonic minor. We're using the natural minor. That's the minor as it is without any alterations at all, except for the B natural, which is why I think it's a C Dorian instead. The modes were used a lot back in the Middle Ages and so forth, and they're used a lot in jazz and that type thing. So if you're really into that kind of thing, you can find Facebook groups. I belong to one, I can't remember the name of it, which it's a music theory group where people ask all kinds of questions on the modes, and there's some very knowledgeable people in there about it, and they explain various things too. So go search up music theory on Facebook and see what you find, and you request to join the group, and they let you, and okay. You can read the questions and answers that people ask. If you're into music theory, if you're not, don't waste your time with it. We're going to say this is in the key of D minor, because that's what the book is saying, so we'll just keep it there. 3/4 time. Do the right hand first. We've got some dotted rhythms. So the right hand comes in on the 3rd major. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Last measure of the first line. 1 and 2 and. Another way of looking at this, if you're struggling with dotted rhythms, when you have the 2 hands together like this and the left hand happens to be playing all quarter notes are playing on the beat, that makes it a little easier to see the rhythm. Because the left hand is doing this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, nice and boring, 1, 2, 3. Well, if you look at that last measure of the first line and you see between the staves how the notes line up, so that you can see that the E and the C and the hands come together at the same time, but then the F, the eighth note, is in between the two left hand, the E and the G, so that's when it plays, in between them. So it's here, like so. And that's another way of visualizing the harmony, visualizing the rhythm. But technically you should count it. 1 and 2 and 3 and. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and, like so. So different ways of checking and testing out the rhythm. Is it correct? You know, is your first guess correct? I encourage you to learn them all. Whatever I'm presenting to you, try and keep it all in mind. Going on, second line. We're down here in the first line, and then in the second line, second measure, you got to come up here. It's between phrase. You're just going to lift up. Now you're in this position. And you're going to stay here because in the fourth measure of the second line, you have the B natural. It has to have a natural sign because there's a B flat in the key signature. So yeah. And at the end of the second line, it's the end of a phrase. So lift up before you play the D. And then the third line, second measure, and then a third finger on the second A going into the third measure. Again, the same note, two different fingers. I love it. Yes. Now we crossed over here because that puts us in position to go on. We want to be in this position, so that's okay. I could offer a different fingering here, but I won't. Just, that's fine. But lift up at the end of the phrase so we get some silence. And then the last line, second measure. It's here. Cross over to the 2 and then use third. Left hand just has the rolling chords, or the broken chords here. And I'm shifting my weight from finger to finger. That's all. You're moving around a little bit. Try and get to where you can do this without looking at the keyboard. Second line, fourth measure, it's a B natural. Third line. Follow their fingering, it's good. At the end, the last two measures, when the right hand goes up, the left hand doesn't move, it stays right there. So your hands are moving here at the end. And that's the hands. It's not too challenging, I hope, as far as the hands go. Now, melody's in the right hand, so you're going to bring out the melody. Now, the dynamics at the beginning of this, they're telling you soft. You'll have to decide what soft is, and then whenever the melody comes in, you're telling you medium loud. The idea is they're telling you right from the beginning how loud the accompaniment should be, so you can just stay there. Then when the melody comes in, it automatically comes in louder than that. So if this is soft, the melody is going to be sort of soft. It's going to be louder than that. But the left hand's going to stay the same softness. And then you have a crescendo in the second line there in the second measure. Go up to here. That's what we want to hear. Line, then you have a decrescendo back down, go back down to medium soft, and then the excess go down to a medium loud. That's not exactly what it appears to say that. That's not really what it's saying. You started out medium soft, well, go back down to medium soft here, go back, and then all of a sudden you're medium loud. In other words, you decrescendo down to a level, and then when you start in again, you immediately start in louder than you were when you decrescendo. Now, if it's easier for you just to go down to a medium loud, that's fine, except I don't think you should have been more than a medium loud to begin with. Whenever you crescendoed at the second measure of the second line, just go up to a medium loud. crescendo back down to a soft. But now you're going to go on at medium loud level. Third line, third measure, and so forth. Now you're going to take a slow decrescendo down to a soft. Now you're soft. Stay there, and now just die away as best you can. Now there's a repeat sign down there, so you're going to repeat back up to the top to the reverse repeat sign. So when you finish that in the right hand, then you're just going to go up to the top, but that says second time 8 VA. So you're going to lift up and move. It's like between phrases. So just don't take a lot of time. You know, it's just a short pause between the phrases is all it is. And your second time, the right hand's going to be all the way up here. The left hand doesn't move. Don't worry about the left hand. It's just the right hand. And then when you get down to the bottom second time, you're playing this, the D with third finger, and then you go on past the repeat sign up here. Well, think about this a bit. The fingering here, they're telling you at the bottom, a 1, 2, 3. And you're down here because you're going to repeat. And then you repeat back up here. The second time around, you're up here. I recommend the second time you put thumb on the D. Stay there. Don't use third finger second time around. That way when you go on and play that chord, you can do that 2-5. You're here. It's a D minor chord. The whole thing, we're just not using the A. So you're here to here. That's the fingering. So it's 2-5 at the end on that for the right hand. That's what I recommend. There's nothing wrong with lifting up and playing at 1-5. It's okay. I'm just, again, preparing you for a more advanced fingering style that's going to help you later on when the music gets a little tougher. So here to here. The idea is I don't want to move the hand anymore than I have to. And this is one position. And I can cover it all, the D and that, in one position. I don't have to move, is the reason. So the roadmap is at the bottom you're going to repeat back to the reverse repeat sign, and the right hand's going to go up an octave. The left hand's staying right there. It's not moving anywhere. If they wanted the left hand to move up, that has to put in there both hands. In the music it would have to say both hands. Or they have to do the 8 VA above the bottom staff also. It's another way of doing it. At the top they're introducing a new dynamic mark. The PP, pianissimo, very soft. 1P is soft. You have to decide what soft is. 2Ps is very soft. It's not twice as soft or half as loud. It doesn't work that way. It's just a little softer. Because you can have 3Ps and 4Ps and it can get to the point where you just practically blow on the keys. That's how soft it is. But 2Ps is just very soft. And here you get 2Ps at the bottom. They're in the last, when you're up here. This is very soft, and the left hand, you get that just as soft as you can. Just really as soft as you can. You can probably leave the left hand at very soft, because once this is done, you don't have anything to listen to but the left hand. Like so. Yeah. Now they're adding pedal here, mostly legato pedal, but I have some suggestions. Let's talk about it. Now there are different pedaling styles. It depends on the effect you want. And you may experiment and try different things out to see what you like. And one day you'll play it one way, and another day you'll feel it different, so you play it a different way. Then that's okay. I'd like to open up your mind a little bit and give you other options. The book is making it simple. And this is a style, and there's nothing wrong with it. They're simply legato pedaling everything, and that kind of smears things a little bit. And that is an effect that some pieces really like. I mean, it's important to do that. For instance, in the second line, if I pedal it like they're showing, it sounds like this. Can you hear that smear? All of that, that's just smears it off. That may be the effect they're after. Problem is, in the next line, they don't smear the third measure. They lift it up. Why don't they smear that? They could smear that too. If you're going to smear it, smear it. So you can pedal it just like they're telling you to. Do an overlapping pedal. That is, play the notes and then change the pedal. After you play the notes, it overlaps. But I'd like to offer you some other ideas to think about. And again, if you're struggling, forget all this. Do it the way they're telling you to do it, or leave the pedal out completely. You don't need it. But if you're doing okay, then I want to give you some other things. In the first line, I'm going to go ahead and pedal it just like they're saying to pedal it. So it's throughout. And the second line, I'm going to lift the pedal up with the right hand in the second measure so I get a break between the phrase in the right hand. The left hand is legato. There's no break there. But I want to silence in the right hand. I got to lift the pedal up so I can hear it in the second measure, and in the last measure, same thing. So it's here. Now, so I'm going to lift the pedal up in the second measure and the second line with the right hand, and I'm not pedaling the rest of the measure. I'm not pedaling those two. I don't want to smear them. So I'm waiting until the next measure before I pedal again. So the first 3 measures or so of the second line. And then I can pedal that, and then I'm not pedaling the 4th measure. Not pedaling that at all, and then I'll pedal the next one. And I lift up with the right hand at the end of the second line with the phrase. And then I can put it down right after I play the D, the last note. I can put the pedal down to catch the D. So the last 2 measures of the second line, like so. So to do the whole second line for you, I suggest this. Line, you can pedal it like they're showing you. Until the end of the line. On the last measure, I'll lift the pedal up with the right hand so I get silence between the phrases in the right hand. So the last 3 measures of the third line. And then the last line, I don't pedal the second measure at all. At the repeat sign, when I'm going to repeat, I'm going to lift the pedal up with the right hand because it's the end of a phrase. And then I repeat back up and do all that again. Now the second time through, at the end like that, you can leave the pedal down throughout the last 4 measures because you're here. Just leave it down. That's okay. That's alright if you want to do that. That's fine. At the end, the pedal and the hands come up at the same time. Now there is another style of pedaling I'd like to show you, just to give you an idea, because there's a lot of different pedaling techniques. It takes time to learn them, one at a time. But when you're at the end of a soft, gentle piece like this, and it slows down at the end, dies away, it's dying away, what I'm going to do is lift the keys up. I'm going to keep my hands on the keys. I'm just lifting the keys up, and then I'm very slowly going to lift the pedal, just ever so slowly. And the sound should just die away. As the dampers gradually touch the strings, the sound would gradually die away. If you get buzzing or something, you may need to have a piano technician look at your dampers because it should just die away. Now if you have an electronic keyboard, some electronic keyboards, the more expensive ones will do it. I've done it on them. The cheaper ones won't. It'll get to a point where you lift the pedal up and it'll sound. So you can't do this on those. You'll have to experiment on your keyboard to see which is which. But on an acoustic piano, you should be able to just die away. Just lift the keys up. Keep your hands down because you don't want the audience to know that you've lifted the keys up. They won't even notice. And then you just gradually lift the pedal up and it dies away. It's gorgeous. I've heard piano teachers playing soft pieces like this. At the end and at the the very end, they just abruptly end the sound. And it's like, whoa, what happened? And this is a way to prevent that, is just die away. So let's try this out slowly together to check the notes and the rhythms, and I'll pedal it the way I've suggested. If you want to pedal it the way they're showing, that's up to you. I'll leave that to you. As I said before, you don't even need pedal on this. You can do the whole thing without. So I'll give us 3 counts, and we'll try it out. So your hand's in D position to start with. Foot's on the pedal. 1, ready, go. Repeat. Hold, 2, 3, off.